Have you ever looked at somebody and wondered, what would it be like to read their mind? But were taken aback because they spoke another language? I had that question as a kid. And I was stuck because what if they spoke another language and thought in that same language? What if I didn't know it? Growing up, it made it very hard to learn another language because of the stigma of adults can't learn languages as easy as kids can. So the older I got, the harder it seemed. And I get it. And being an adult with a social life, work life, family life, it seems impossible. But with things like technologies, like apps, virtual classrooms, and even YouTube videos, it's easier than ever to learn it as an adult. And it also has some social and some health benefits. It not only can it make you look really cool and talk to other people, it can also lengthen your life. Today I'm going to be explaining how to learn a new language as an adult in 2 simple steps. Learning the basics and applying it to your life. Now, learning the basics is important because it gives you a foundation for the language. If you build a house with wood and brick, it's important to know your foundation is solid because if it's not, it's going to fall apart. It's almost simpler as an adult to learn a new language because we already have the foundation of what it is. Vocabulary, grammar, sentence structure, key phrases, and we already know what those are. We're not learning new concepts. We're just learning what it is in another language. For example, when I was learning my second language, which was American Sign Language, I was given pictures and then the new word. The difference is I wasn't learning what the picture was. I already knew what it was. I was just applying the new language to it. So when I was using it in a sentence, I could picture it, already knowing what it is, and just apply it to life. Now, apps are a great example of this. For example, Duolingo, an app that I personally use myself, learning another language. I'm learning Italian. And, for example, Black Bean. Okay? They will give you a picture of a bean, say black bean, and when you correctly select the right picture, it will tell you what it is. And this helps us in 2 ways. It gives us the new vocabulary and the sentence structure. Okay? Black bean in Italian is fagiolo nero. It gives us both bean and black, which is 2 words, and it gives us an idea of what the sentence structure looks like. Putting the noun first and then the descriptor, to where in English it's the descriptor and then the noun. Now, a man named Steve from Linguist.com explains how it's important to learn the basics first. He writes about learning Russian and Portuguese, saying, when I talk about my experience of learning Portuguese and even Russian, I did start with phrasebooks and I got nowhere. I find it better to start with meaningful little short content, short stories that have meaning behind them to build up the language, the understanding of the language, and most importantly, the vocabulary and your words. Now, he knows 50 languages, and he did it so easily, but where did the stigma of it being so hard come from? There was a research that came out that's saying that adults will have a little bit of a harder time learning a new language than kids in the 0 to 5 age group, which is the important age group for learning a language. But the media took that and ran with it. They completely blew it out of proportion. So that made it so much harder for adults to want to learn a new language. A man named Sharon explained this in an article he wrote. And he said, looking more closely at the data for students who started learning after the age of 20, there are a lot of late learners who outperform many native English speakers, which means that the ones who learned later in life compared to the ones who learned English as a baby outperformed them because they already had that foundation in hand. Now, step 2. You already have the foundation, so now you have to apply it to your life through immersion. Applying it to your life is as important as learning the foundation because corrections can be made and a deeper meaning can be understood. And you really don't know how to use it properly until you use it in your everyday life. So if you're using it and you're using it incorrectly and no one corrects you, you're going to keep using it incorrectly. For example, when I was learning my second language, I was using slang differently than how it was supposed to be used because I learned it incorrectly. So when I started using it in conversations with people, I was being corrected. And so I took that, I corrected it, and then I got a deeper understanding of what it actually meant, which helped me expand so much. And when people typically think immersion, they think traveling, they think going to other countries, they think moving, but you don't even have to leave your house to apply it to your everyday life. Babbel.com, a language learning app, explains how easy it is to apply it to your everyday life. They give examples like, through the miracle of technology, you can surround yourself with a new language anytime, anywhere, like listening to a podcast or the news in another language, labeling everything you know with Post-it notes, cooking a meal using a recipe that was written in another language, and write your to-do lists in another language. It's that simple. And it's that easy to make a huge impact in your life. And eventually, you're going to know another language. So after today, after explaining these two languages, I hope you understand the process of learning a new language as an adult is not as daunting as it seems by breaking down the steps into two, which is learning the basics and immersing it into your everyday life.